Yo, what's good, everybody? It's your boy Golden Falls, Golden What If, whatever you want to call me. And this is, I'm gonna make this as short and sweet as possible, but this is basically the quote-unquote movie or the compilation of the 3 parts that I made. You can go back in the playlist, or I'm sure I'll have it linked above, and you can just go check out the playlist or like the first video that I made. But I know some of you like the longer videos. So if you do want to either rewatch it or are just watching it for the first time and you just like watching the full movies, this is the full movie of it. So yeah, that's about it. And what you're gonna hear now is just me from the past. So yeah, I hope all y'all enjoy, and later. In a world where superpowers were developed in humans, there was a boy who would eventually become the top hero. And his name was Izuku Midoriya, and this is his story. Midoriya was a young child going to a school at the age of 4 with his friend Bakugo, who just received his very own quirk. The kids around Bakugo, including the teachers, awed at the amazing quirk that he was showing. "Explosions are so cool, Kachan. I hope my quirk is as cool as yours." "That's gonna be hard, Deku. Especially because my quirk is so awesome." After a few more days, Deku was on his way to school, and seemingly the sun began to put extreme pain on him. But once he got in the shade, the pain vanished, and the seemingly sunburned skin that was like the course of that pain just vanished as well. His mother, he ended up telling his teachers about this feeling in the sun, and his mother was called. His mother picked him up and brought him to the doctors to get him checked. The doctor eventually telling her that he may have developed his quirk. When they see the quirk specialist, he explains that Midori has gotten his quirk, and what really they can make of it. It's some enhancement quirk. It seems that his cells are in a state of flux that will allow for him to have super strength, super regeneration, and stamina that is extremely high to the level of a pro-level athlete. It seems though he has some sort of weakness to the sun, in which when he's in it, it will mildly hurt him and tone back the regeneration and other qualities quite a bit. I'm sure with proper quirk training and other things, he could get around this weakness. For now, he should try and wear clothing that blocks himself from the sun. But I recommend that you have to have him go out in the sun a bit at a time every day until he builds up a higher tolerance. We also deem this quirk to be demon art. We have seen similar things to this, and frankly, this is the most fitting description with the weakness that your son has to the sun and all, and the increased attributes. Think of it like one of those animes about demons who have supernatural abilities. They both thank the doctor, and Deku leaves extremely excited that he can finally become just like his role model and favorite hero, All Might. When Deku goes to school the next day, he tells everyone about his quirk, and they all think that it's so cool that a quirk like that can do so many things. Bakugo, on the other hand, at this time is seeming somewhat happy for Deku, but still feels that he has the superior quirk. Bakugo actually grows up with a better attitude toward Deku because of he finally has this quirk, but still nonetheless he feels that he is the best. As Deku grows up, he begins to train his quirk in the sun to gain some resistance to it. As the years went by, he turned 10 and he began watching martial arts, and he loved it a lot. He then convinced his mom to let him go into martial arts, starting with karate, then judo, then kickboxing, until it went down the whole chain of various martial arts. As he did this though, and progressed at a faster rate, he began to think less and less of the people who either didn't go anywhere with their craft or just flat out didn't try. Deku, after basically mastering almost all of the martial arts that exist, he began to take the rest of the time he had in middle school to train his quirk. One day, Deku was actually considering who he could possibly even train with. And with the time he spent mastering martial arts, he didn't have many friends or, frankly, interactions outside of school at all. He then decided that maybe he should ask Bakugo, his childhood friend, with a seemingly very strong quirk, to help him train. Kachan, before you leave, I have a proposition for you. What is it, you damn nerd? Listen. I need a training partner, and frankly, you have a strong quirk. And I know you love getting stronger, so how about it? You damn nerd. You're gonna apply to UA, huh? Yeah, I mean, that's the plan. I guess there is room for two of us, but I will be the best. So I assume that's a yes to the training? For the next 2 years or so, I guess I can tolerate you. Sounds good to me. Dagoba Beach tomorrow after school. See you then, you damn nerd. Whoa, I just combined their names. Deku and Bakugo meet at the beach, seeing piles of trash as basically a way to train. They begin to clean up the beach, and after about 5 months, they were able to clean it completely. And finally, they can begin quirk training. One day, they were actually caught training with their quirks and got in trouble with a bro hero. You know you two can't be using your quirks, right? Deku then responds, "Oh, we're sorry, sir. We didn't know." Well, I think you two could have promising futures. So this is what I want to do. I will guide you in your training myself. 5 times a week, here from 5 to 9 p.m. Deku then realizes, wait, I know who you are. You're Night Eye. That's me, but don't go telling your little friends about me training you. In agreement, they both shake their heads. As Night Eye walks away, he begins to think that maybe training more people would help All Might realize that there are aspiring heroes who are there ready to take on his power. After training with Night Eye for about halfway into their final year in middle school, Night Eye told them that he no longer had that extra time to set up trainings, but he got them permission to use their quirks unsupervised during their normal training times at Dagoba Beach. After thanking him for the training, they realized how much they have grown. How much they have grown. Not so much as their their quirks, but their physical and mental capabilities in fights. And they truly learned more and more about decision making and covering their own weaknesses. After a bit more time, then came the day that their teacher began to talk about careers, eventually throwing the papers into the air, saying that he knows everyone wants to go the hero route, and that Bakugo and Midoriya are even applying to UA to go into the UA entrance exam. The whole class looks at them and they begin to mutter about how they both can become great pros, but Midoriya's quirk isn't too flashy, so as they say this, Bakugo tells them basically to shut up, and that the only person that even has a chance at competing with him is Deku over there. And the rest of you extras are bound to be sidekicks to some C-tier wannabe hero. The class, outraged at the comment, screams, but that is about it. After class, Deku and Bakugo talk about training, and Deku tells him that he's gonna take the walk home really fast to write something down in his journal and grab some things before heading over to Dagoba Beach. Bakugo acknowledges what he said, and Deku begins to walk home, entering a sewer. When he walks in, Deku can sense something odd, like there's something near him. Alright, come out. I know you're there. Stop hiding. Deku learned this throughout his years of basically doing martial arts, training and honing his skills to sense people's intent to fight, kill, for peace, and many other things. How'd you know I was down there, kid? Something I learned a couple years ago. Well, I need your body. I didn't know he was here. Hey, I mean, you can try. I kind of need a worthy opponent anyway. You're too cocky, kid. The sludge villain charges at Deku, and Deku just jumps over the villain and slightly taunts him with his hand. The sludge villain charges once again, and then Deku begins to fight back. Deku slides under the villain and screams, "Flying Planet Thousand Wheels!" Deku kicks his legs up, sending the sludge villain to the roof, and in an instant bounces off the roof himself, sending a large shockwave downward with a kick, making the sludge villain go everywhere. Damn! Bro, that's gross, dude. I am here! All Might, no way! All Might then, in complete shock, tells Deku that he did good stopping this villain, and that it's super impressive that someone your age can even do something like this. Deku, of course, thanks him and tells him that he's been training for a while now with his quirk, explaining his quirk to him. All Might begins to think that this kid has one amazing quirk, and maybe he is worthy. And maybe he is worthy of his own quirk. Deku then tells All Might that he will be attending the best school. Tells All Might that he will be attending the best school in Japan, and one day he will surpass him as the #1 hero. Deku then, basically, after saying that, helps All Might pick up the villain really fast, and then just leaves off home, not even asking the question that he did in canon, being basically sure of himself at this point. And compared to canon, the sludge villain doesn't escape, and basically the 10 months go by pretty easily, with Deku and Bakugo getting stronger and stronger, right, through training, making this Bakugo way stronger than in canon. A month before the exam, they actually both decide to take time to study, because frankly, Deku or at least Deku hasn't done much of that. He's been just been training and learning more martial arts techniques, and that's all he loves doing. He loves to fight. So he basically takes that last month to try to study. The day then finally came for both of them to do the entrance exam, and both get there and begin to head in until Deku sees a girl trip and basically almost hit her face on the pavement. And in an instant, you couldn't even see him move. He grabs her and just puts her on her feet. She thanks him and wishes him good luck on the exam, basically in a panic that some boy just grabbed her, right? And just walks in all flustered. They enter the exam hall and do the written portion of the exam, in which Deku does well on. Not the best, but he does pretty well. Once that was over, Deku and Bakugo are basically separated for the practical exam. Deku enters the practical, seeing the girl that he stopped from falling, and tries to go and talk to her, but this guy with blue hair tries to stop him. "I will not let you talk to her and sabotage." As he says this, Deku was already on the opposite side of him, the guy who wasn't there at all. "Hey, are you nervous?" "Oh, yeah, a little bit. What about you?" "No, I'm fine, but I'm sure you will do well. Just try your best." "Go, go, go! There's no countdowns in a real battle." Deku then races off at incredible speeds, destroying tons and tons of robots. In an seemingly 15 to 30 seconds, he racked up about 90 points worth of robots, and then just stopped. Dude, this is lame. It's not even hard to destroy these robots. So until the last minute of the practical, Deku was basically just waiting around and watching until the 0-pointer came out. Him feeling the footsteps of this giant robot. Whoa, now that is awesome. Deku then looks and sees everyone running, but then sees the girl he met on the ground, under rubble, about to be stomped on by the 0-pointer. Deku, with excitement but also concern, charges at the 0-pointer, that is towering over the city and begins to shoot shockwaves at it. Annihilation type, 8-layer demon core. Shooting tons of shockwaves at the robot. Just toppling it over and it lands on the ground. Well, that was pretty fun. I mean, pretty quick, but it was fun at least. Stronger than those other tiny robots. He then throws the debris off the girl and carries her to the side as the practical comes to end. She then basically thanks him profusely, and they trade names and numbers after she got treatment from Recovery Girl. Deku then heads home for the next week, so he begins to train some more mental and spiritual martial arts that will allow for him to stay even more aware in a battle. One day, his mom comes stumbling into his room. Izuku, a letter from UA, it's here! Deku then grabs the letter and, basically in excitement, shuts the door on his mom. And he opens the letter and All Might appears. I am here, Izuku Midoriya. I met you under a sewer under a sewer, with you providing justice to a villain yourself with ease. And with that impressive quirk, I know you are bound to do amazing things. With that said, I am the newest UA teacher, and I am happy to inform you of not only your acceptance into UA, but also that you got the highest score, with 90 villain points, but also a hidden category, 50 hero points, making your total 140 points. Congratulations, and welcome to UA. Damn, first? I thought I wanted to get first because I got super unmotivated at the end there, and just waited for the 0-pointer, but I guess I'm just that good. He begins to laugh to himself, and then after a bit more time, in terms of the day, and in the morning, the first day of UA finally arrives. Deku basically walks into class seeing Bakugo getting yelled at by the same kid with blue hair he met. Deku kind of looks and points at Bakugo and kind of starts laughing at him, but the blue-haired kid runs over to Deku and introduces himself, apologizes, and says that Deku is the superior student. Deku kind of just shrugs off what he says and just basically goes to sit down. As he goes to sit down, he sees Uraraka walk in, and he waves at her, and they eventually all sit down before their teacher even comes. The teacher then comes in. I'm Miss Raizawa. I'm your homeroom teacher. Put these on and meet me on the training field. But what about orientation? We don't have time for things like that. I have 3 years to make you into the best heroes possible. Orientation is useless. The class then meets outside, and Aizawa throws Deku a ball. Midoriya, you got the highest of the practical exam. I want you to throw this ball using your quirk. Deku looks at him weirdly and then decides to comply. He then launches the ball higher and higher. The ball seems like it's about to decline, till Deku throws a punch in its direction, sending a shockwave, launching it even farther, where basically no one could see. 15,000 meters. That's impressive. I could have gotten farther, but since I'm out in the sun, I am a bit weaker than I normally am. Compared to at night, at least. The whole class, including Aizawa, look at him like he basically was talking crazy. What do you mean, Midoriya? The sun... What do you mean, Midoriya? Well, the sunlight makes me slightly weaker. I've been working on evolving that, but it's been pretty difficult. Even when I was a kid, it would burn me pretty bad, but now it's doesn't hurt as bad. It stings a little, but you get used to it. After his ball throw, everyone seems to basically be excited about what's going on and begin to follow suit until Aizawa says that if you are last in these challenges, you will be expelled. The assessment then finishes with obviously Deku getting first and everyone else falling in line behind him. But Mineta is actually the one who is in last place. Mineta, come with me. The rest of you, you're free to go. Everyone leaves, seemingly distraught about the fact that this kid just got expelled on the first day. Except for Bakugo, Deku, and this guy with a weird scar. Bakugo and Deku proceed to basically leave and begin talking about what just happened. The kid kind of deserved it, you know. He didn't really seem like he even wanted to become a hero for like an actual reason. Yeah, the kid, he deserved it anyways. It doesn't really matter. He's just something extra anyways. They then depart home. And the next day, they come to school, and when they arrive and sit down, Aizawa tells them that he will actually not be teaching them today. And someone busts through the door. I am here. Everyone gasps in excitement that All Might is their teacher for the day. Oh my god, he explains that they will be doing some combat training, which, dude, excites Deku to no end. They all head out to Ground Gamma, and random teams are picked. Deku ends up with Uraraka and ends up going against Bakugo and Ida. All Might explains that the goal of the villains is to protect the bomb in the building for 5 minutes, or capture the heroes in which Deku and Uraraka are the heroes and Bakugo and Ida are the villains. Hey Kachan, if you want to forfeit, feel free. I won't put it against you. Not a chance, nerd. I'm gonna beat you senseless. The villains then take their positions, and Deku begins to come up with a plan. So Uraraka, what do you want to do? I'm not good at making plans, to be honest with you. It's fine. How about this? Deku basically explains her the plan, and the time is now up, and the heroes must proceed. Uraraka grabs onto Deku, and they begin to use her quirk to scout where the bomb is, finding it pretty quickly, and Deku actually just shatters the glass and goes back down to where they started. Uraraka, feel free to go get the bomb if you want, but I really want to spar with Bakugo real quick. Before response, Deku was actually gone in an instant. Kachan. A villain? How could you do this to us? Shut up, you damn nerd. Let's just get started. Hey, you got it. Deku and Bakugo basically charge at each other and both clashed in the hand-to-hand combat, which you would think Deku would have extreme advantages over, but through their basically immense training, Bakugo begins to throw punches that his nitroglyceride or whatever, the explosions come out of the gaps between his knuckles, basically blasting both of Deku's arms off, and he screams in pain. Oh no, my arms! My arms! My arms! Behind the screen, everyone is freaking out, oh my god, no way, this Deku's arms or Midoriya's arms, and then until nerd, shut up. Okay. That was funny though. And he basically just regrows his arms, seemingly, or regenerates them. Everyone just in shock behind the screen, whoa, Midoriya can do that? That's insane. Deku then begins to just shoot shockwaves at Bakugo, blasting him back toward the wall, and eventually bouncing off the wall himself and landing a brutal kick on top of Bakugo's head, basically knocking him out. As Deku walks away, he looks at Bakugo and goes, sorry man, I didn't want to end it that quick, but we are in a closed area, and you know how I am in closed areas. I love the fight. And then after he does this little remark and puts the capture tape on Bakugo, you can hear, heroes win. Wow, Uraraka must have gotten the bomb. Nice, less work for me, I guess. The MVP is actually named Ida, and Deku gets partially scolded for just literally wanting to fight. Which is kind of like, you know, his thing. He just wants to fight people, fight the strongest, that's it. And all the rest of the fights go about the same, and then the day ends with Deku heading home, and before he crashes on his bed, he just watches some UFC fights that are on, you know? The next day, everyone arrives, and Aizawa begins to explain what the plan is for the day. By the way, we're skipping the part where they assign class president. I think it's ridiculous. I'm not doing it, okay? I'm sure I did it in a different what if. I just hate it. I don't like that whole... Okay, I feel like it's just a waste of an episode. Okay, we're done now. But yeah, it's Ida and Momo. We're just going to go with that. Okay, sounds good. Aizawa then basically explains that today... Oh, my bad. Today we'll be doing rescue training. So, everyone meet me outside at the bus. We're going to head over there now. Everyone basically gets on the bus and they all begin to talk about who's the strongest in the class. They come to the conclusion that it has to be either Shoto, Todoroki, or Midoriya. After seeing Midoriya basically knock out Bakugo pretty quickly, Deku interjects and basically tells him, like, I never thought I would be saying this, but y'all are underestimating Kachan. I mean, frankly, if I didn't have insane regeneration, he could have ended that fight pretty quickly. Am I right? Everyone looks at him and then looks at Bakugo, and then Bakugo kind of just turns away, annoyed. And they all wait an answer from Midoriya. You will see, trust me, he's pretty strong. We've been training together for a while now. I mean, can't really tell if he likes me or not. We're kind of like on that neutral phase of our relationship, or whatever you want to call it. I don't even know if we're friends. Bakugo then turns and looks at Midoriya. Shut up, you damn fucking nerd. Okay, Bakugo. Oh, okay, Kachan. They all get out and go to the USJ and begin to listen to Pro Hero 13 talk about what they will be basically doing until Deku just cuts her off. 13, Aizawa, get everyone out now. Midoriya, what are you talking about? Now, go, everyone get out. Damn. It's too late now. Tons of villains come pouring out of this portal looking thing. As well as a man with hands all over him, followed by a beast looking creature. Aizawa then says, 13, protect the students. Ooh, now this is what I'm talking. Aizawa then begins to basically jump into action. But as Deku is about to do so himself, 13 stands in front of him. Midoriya, you cannot. She is then cut off by Deku basically already being on the battlefield, just blitzing past her. 13 then thinks that, like, how the heck is this kid, like how do you get by me so easily? Like, and I didn't even realize, like, that he was just gone. She then realized that, alright, well, I need to focus on these other students. Deku begins to fight the, like, small fry villains and beats basically all of them, like one after another, with Aizawa basically next to him. And their fighting styles are actually syncing up pretty well, especially because of the fact that, like, Deku has, like, really in-depth senses for martial arts, beating just one after another. With only about 20 left, Deku stands there, like, thinking that this is kind of boring now. Everyone doesn't even know how to fight, and they clean up the last, like, bit pretty quickly. And then out of nowhere, a Nomu charges at Aizawa. Deku then tackles the Nomu, saving Aizawa barely from getting, like, hit at full force, like, basically kicking the Nomu away for the time being. Midoriya, you shouldn't be here. I mean, if I wasn't, you'd be dead. Just cancel the thing's quirk and let me do the hand-to-hand combat. Midoriya, you know that is the best way to beat this thing. Deku then charges in and basically is going blow for blow with the Nomu. Deku backs up and screams, "Air type!" blasting shockwaves at the Nomu's body, rising it up slowly into the air. Midoriya, watch out! Deku was being charged by Shigaraki at insane speed. Before he knew it, Shigaraki grabbed his arm and disintegrated it. Deku then flips away and looks at his arm. Oh my god! My arm! My arm! Why? Idiot kid. You're no hero. You're just an NPC. Deku then just grows his arm back. I was kidding. An NPC, huh? I mean, I would say I'm more of a protagonist. Deku charges at Shigaraki, but the Nomu steps in front of him. Damn it, you again? Fine. Deku uses his compass needle and basically a compass looking snowflake arrives around him or under him. And as the Nomu and Shigaraki actually charge at him, they can't lay a finger on him. Shigaraki just begins to panic, this kid, how is he able to do this? Out of nowhere, you can hear from the back of the USJ is, I am here. All Might then arrives to join the battle. Kawagiri, we have to get out of here. This kid was a bigger problem than I thought. I have to tell him about it. They leave, but decide to basically leave the Nomu and various villains behind. All Might, about to jump into action, is stopped. Deku begins to walk to him. All Might, sit this one out. I can handle this. Plus, your injury, you can't overwork yourself. How did you... Before All Might could even ask anything, Deku dashes off at the Nomu with this wide smile on his face because he just loves to fight. Regeneration, huh? Well, I guess I have to hit you even harder. As Deku began to just unleash all his strength hitting the Nomu, his smile widened even further. His eyes turned to this light yellow as his body slowly began to cover itself with lines. I've never pushed myself this hard. I guess this is a result of doing just that. As he basically acknowledges the changes that he's seeing on his body. To finish the Nomu off, Deku screams, Annihilation type! Completely incapacitating the Nomu. After the fight was over, the pro heroes basically came to clean up the mess. And eventually Deku got scolded, but still thanked for at least jumping in like he did. After getting about 2 days off, they return to class and Aizawa begins to explain things, some things. Okay, class, first off, the UA Sports Festival is coming up, where pro heroes will be watching you to determine if they want to invite you for an internship. Everyone begins to basically get excited, and they all start talking about how cool this is going to be. I'm not done yet. The sports festival is in 2 days. So, do what you feel is best to prepare. Also, one last thing, before you go, we have a new student that is getting moved up in place of Mineta from class 1B. Come on in. This is Kendo. Kendo says hi to everyone and takes a seat next to Deku where Mineta was once sitting. After class, Deku actually decides to catch up with her, telling her that she looks really familiar. Then he remembers that during his martial arts training, Kendo was a student at one of the dojos he attended. She then responds, oh yeah, I mean, you're the best in our dojo before you left. Wait, I've been meaning to ask, why did you leave? Well, there wasn't anything else for me, basically to learn. So I had to leave to get more martial arts training. She then basically says that, yeah, that makes sense. They both exchanged numbers and actually set a time to spar and train together, which Kendo learns some more martial arts techniques from Deku, and basically, I guess, the short amount of time they actually do have. The 2 days then pass, and the UA Sports Festival has finally arrived. All the classes are called out to the field, and then Deku is eventually asked to give his speech as the class representative. Better not fuck this up, you damn nerd, or I'll kill you. Deku basically starts to laugh and just heads up to the podium. I will keep this short, but I feel like I can speak for everyone that we want to give everyone a show and make this as entertaining as possible. But at the end of the day, I will be the one at the top of the podium. Thank you. Midnight after the speech then announces the first phase of the sports festival, the obstacle race. Everyone lines up and they all dash off. When everyone reaches the first obstacle, a huge wave of ice freezes over the ground to stop basically a lot of the contestants from moving. Deku sees this and just uses the walls to bounce back and forth over the ice. Deku just runs after Todoroki and just punches through these 0 point robots standing in his way. Bakugo and Todoroki are basically hot on his trail, and after passing the ravine, the three of them are basically neck and neck. They all come across the minefield, and Bakugo and Todoroki try and go across safely, but Deku just full sprints across, not caring about the explosions. Deku then comes in first, but instead of the audience cheering, they gasp in horror. They're like, "Oh my god, what happened?" And he's like, Deku basically is like, "What are they gasping about?" Oh, wait. Deku actually realizes that he's missing half of his right arm and missing the entirety of his left. Deku basically just regenerates it back, and everyone in the crowd just like sighs in relief, not knowing that Deku knew that he was able to just basically regenerate and he would be fine even if the explosions hit him head on. Everyone else gets the same placement. And then the next event is finally revealed. The cavalry battle. The cavalry battle will occur. And it's announced that the first place will be worth 10 million points. Deku visually smiles at the challenge of having 10 million points. He even asks if he could do the event on his own, but is refused, unfortunately. He ends up teaming up with Kendo, Meihatsume, and Uraraka, so no Tokiyami this time. But as the match starts, Deku's team just heads away as quick as possible from everyone. And as Shoto and Bakugo charge at them, Deku just uses shockwaves, and Kendo uses the air from her big hands to just slow everyone down, or just blow them back completely. And if anyone even got near Deku using Uraraka's Uraraka's gravity quirk and Mei's equipment, they would just blast themselves up to get away, and they eventually pretty easily hold on to the 10 million points. After all of that, the one-on-one fights then begin. Deku's first match is announced to be against Shinso. Deku, even before the match, can tell what Shinso wants him to do, but he has an idea. And he's able to basically sense this intent from his intense mental and physical training with martial arts. Before Shinso even starts talking to Deku begins to talk. Listen, don't talk yet. I know how your quirk works. Impressive, very impressive actually. And I respect the want to become a hero even with a quirk like this. At the end of the day though, I have to beat you. But I do think that quirk has a lot of possibilities. Okay, now go ahead. Ask me something. I want to see if your quirk works on me. Shinso literally stands there in complete confusion, not actually comprehending if this guy is serious or just straight up mocking him. Shinso then asks okay, why do you think I can become a hero? Deku answers, and Shinso activates his quirk, and Deku just stands motionless. Shinso, kind of hesitant at what the hell just happened, goes, now walk out the ring. Deku turns and starts to walk, and then just abruptly stops. He then turns, shooting a shockwave at Shinso. He then wins via ring out. Damn, Shinso almost had me there for a second, not gonna lie. I thought my mental training meant nothing to that quirk for a second. Sorry it had to end like this, but I know that you can get transferred into our class. Come on, have you seen some of my classmates' quirks? Don't tell them I said that though. And Deku kind of begins to laugh. Deku picks him up and watches the rest of his matches until it's his turn once again, seeing actually Kendo getting knocked out in the first round by Bakugo. He basically tells Kendo oh, it's okay, you just gotta train harder, we can train more after the festival. She smiles in agreement, and Deku's match against Shoto, why did I say Shinzo? Sorry, Shoto finally arrives. While walking through the hallway, Endeavor walks up to Deku to ask him something. Deku, sensing him there and sensing the intent of Endeavor, basically tells him, stop. Like, I already know what you're going to say. Todoroki to use his fire side. Honestly, I don't care about you. Or your struggles with your son. But I do care about having a good match. Fire is basically the only thing that has ever hurt me. So, I will get him to use that quirk. But not for you. And maybe not even for me. I'm just trying to tell myself that it's for me, so I don't feel soft. Also, I don't like you. I don't know why, but I can just tell there's something wrong with you. You give me that aura. Not sure what it is, but I'll figure that out later. Endeavor, like, visually shocked at the fact that this kid just basically read him and said exactly what Endeavor wanted, like, Deku to do. But, like, when he was, like, basically seeing Deku stare him down, it felt odd. Like, Deku, like, read straight through who the man, like, who that man was, right? Who Endeavor was. Deku then just walks away, leaving Endeavor speechless. The fight starts and Todoroki begins to use his ice, but frankly can't even touch Deku. So are you going to use your fire? You know I'm weak to the sun, so wouldn't that be your best course of action? Shoto refuses and basically doesn't even say anything until Deku continues to talk, and Shoto basically says that he refuses to use his old man's quirk. Deku explains to him that his quirk first arrived, that when Deku's quirk first, when he, like, his own quirk first arrived, he felt like a monster, but at the same time was still excited. He's like, my quirk basically makes me a demon, dude. How am I supposed to feel about that? But at the end of the day, that quirk is still my quirk. And it's the same thing with you. That fire is yours. Shoto basically seemingly doesn't even budge on that idea. Have it your way. Deku charges and begins to beat on Shoto until Shoto basically can make space with his ice. I refuse to use my father's quirk. Damn it, Todoroki. You sound so damn ignorant. It isn't his quirk. It's literally yours. It's your power. Use it. Stop squandering what you've been given. Use what you have been blessed with, and let the world see that you aren't your father, that you are more. That you are Shoto Todoroki, not Endeavor's son, but future pro hero. Todoroki's flames then just burst and begin to shine throughout the whole stadium. Deku then thinks to himself that he can finally have a real fight. They begin to fight and the flames are seemingly slowing Deku's regeneration down, until Deku basically falls back, planting his feet. Finally, now let's see. Now let's end this, Todoroki. Right now. Shoto fires off tons of flames at Deku, and Deku screams, "Air type disorder!" The smoke clears with Shoto out of the ring and Deku standing in the ring with half his body gone. Damn, that was a strong blast. He then basically regenerates. Like, not fast though, pretty slow because of the flames. But he does regenerate, picking up Todoroki and basically bringing him to the infirmary. After the other matches conclude, just like in normal fashion, the final matchup is Bakugo versus Deku. Kacchan, you know you can just forfeit right now. Like, you're just gonna get knocked out cold again. Watch, nerd. I'm ready for you this time. The fight begins and Bakugo just starts on the offensive right off the bat. His hands begin to glow and he maintains his explosions on the outsides of his hands. He punches straight through Deku, and Deku realizes that he can't regenerate nowhere near as fast as this, and like as Bakugo is hitting him. Out of pure desperation, Deku basically just kicks him away. His stomach finally closes, but Deku knows that this is a different Bakugo. Bakugo then explodes the ground around Deku, creating a large amount of smoke in the area. Just like how Uraraka in canon did, Bakugo begins to just throw the clothing, like his clothing, out toward different directions, basically to overwhelm Deku's senses in the smoke. Knowing that Deku would most likely close his eyes and try to focus on like what like is happening around him and the disturbance in the smoke that happens. Out of nowhere, Bakugo, using a Howlister impact, charges at Deku. But then Deku screams back and screams disorder. The smoke clears with Bakugo gone from sight until he's behind Deku, trying to blast off his legs. Deku grabs his arms, using his experience in Wing Chun to trap his arms, elbowing Bakugo in the face and sweeping his legs, kicking him upward and jumping up with him, using his air type to knock Bakugo out of the ring. Deku, after the fight, goes to help up Bakugo, but he refuses to accept his help. "Whatever, you damn nerd. I don't need your help." Bakugo walks away, questioning what will it take to keep up or even surpass this dude. The ceremony begins with All Might congratulating the people who placed in the top 3, but the second place was missing. Bakugo refused to come, and Deku, after getting the medal, just left as fast as possible, not liking ceremonies all that much. The next day, Aizawa began to explain the opportunities that were offered because of the sports festival. Midoriya got the most offers, then Todoroki, then Bakugo. "If you haven't got an offer, one will be arranged for you." He tells them that they all now have to come up with like their hero names, and that he's terrible at that, so Midnight will help. And actually, just for like a little heads up, I'm still gonna be calling him Deku because I feel like that'd be the easiest way to go about it in terms of telling the story. But I mean, if you want me to call him by this, here, you'll see right now. If you want me to call him by this, then let me know in the comments. Deku actually decides on the hero name, the Demon Brawler Akaza. People ask like, why Akaza? Like, that sounds like a weird name. And he basically explains that, weirdly enough, that it came to him in a dream one time that he was watching a person by the name of Akaza fight, and it seemed like a perfect hero name for him, especially him being like a martial artist, that it just fit. Everyone begins to talk about like where they want to go and about what names they have chosen until the bell rings for everyone to leave, and Bakugo, without saying anything, just leaves, not even screaming at them for being extras. Deku doesn't seem too concerned, but is weirded out that Bakugo has been acting this way, especially because he never has done this before when they were kids. He mostly just yelled at him. The next day, everyone basically headed off to their internships, and Kendo and Deku basically make their way to the train together. And Kendo goes to the same internship as in canon, but Deku actually goes to an internship with someone else. He got one offer that really interested him, and that was the rabbit hero Mirko, because of her immense physical strength and fighting skills. When he arrives, she invites him in, and he begins to talk about, she begins to talk about what they will be doing. So basically, I'm gonna have you be doing paperwork and going on coffee runs. Nah, I'm just kidding. We're gonna spar for a couple days, and then we're gonna head to a place called Hosu City and actually fight some real villains, because you don't want to spar with me all the time, because for one, you're gonna get beat up. Secondly, it's not good it creates habits. Deku basically sighs in relief, and like he's like, I don't want to freaking pick up coffee, you know? And after spars and actually struggling against her overwhelming power and speed, he realizes a lot of the flaws he has, like in his fighting techniques. That even though he is extremely durable and that he can regenerate, if he protects himself in a fight, it would allow for many other openings instead of just leaving himself wide open to take damage. He even works on like his counters and defensive techniques against Mirko. Like basically to shore up his fighting skills. Then the day came and they begin to head off to Hosu and basically hunt down some villains. But when they arrive, everything seems to be in complete shambles. and fire is just ignited on all the buildings. Midoriya, you need to stay here. You cannot fight in this. But Mirko, no, please stay. She leaves, and after a few minutes, Deku just begins to detect something with immense killing intent. Like, overwhelmingly so. I can tell it's a few blocks away, but I can feel it from here? Deku then ignores what Mirko said and races to the area, seeing a pro hero laying there dead, as well as Ida, his classmate, about to suffer the same fate. Deku kicks the villain away, and he realizes that this villain is the hero killer. Another fake hero for me to kill, huh? Should be easy enough. Deku then shouts, "Compass Needle!" Like a snowflake around him arises from the ground, and as the hero killer begins to attack, he actually can't land a hit on Deku. Deku blasts him away with a shockwave, like with a shockwave in the air, and consults Ida like, "Yo, class prez, like, what's going on here? This is not your fight, please." Okay, stop right there. You sound ridiculous. You can't win this fight. I'm not sure if I can, honestly, but only time may tell. Deku reaches into his pocket and clicks something on his phone and puts it away. The battle then continues, Deku trying to keep the hero killer at a distance until he throws a blade at Ida. Deku jumps in front of it and gets stabbed in the back. "Wow, kid, how selfless of you. Didn't think you would even have done that. Impressive." The hero killer charges in and licks some of the blood that is on the ground, immobilizing Deku. "Damn it, I can't move." "Sorry, kid, but I have an agenda, and I always stick to that agenda. For you, though, you can live. You earned my respect." The hero killer is about to kill Ida, but right before he stabs his blade through him, a kick blasts the hero killer in the face. "Damn it, Midoriya. I told you to stay where you were." "Sorry about that, Mirko." "Whatever. Can you move yet?" No, but I can tell very soon. Mirko begins to basically fight the hero killer, trying her best to avoid getting stabbed, and actually lands significant blows, slowing him down, until she gets cut and immobilized as well. "Too bad. The rabid hero, just not good enough." Out of nowhere came a barrage of shockwaves, blasting the hero killer into the wall, knocking him out cold. Damn, that was close, huh, Mirko? Always wanting to make a flashy ending, huh, Midoriya? You know it. The hero killer is then brought into custody, and the credit is solely given to Mirko for defeating him, because Deku and Ida don't have their hero license and would get into serious trouble otherwise. The next day in class, All Might was actually holding training, a form of rescue race. The race was between Deku, Mina, Ojiro, Ida, and Sero. The race was honestly pretty one-sided. Deku races past everyone in a blink and even flies for a bit using his shockwaves that he basically learned, like to control shockwaves to accelerate himself in the air. All Might congratulates him on a job well done, and that he is definitely using his quirk to the fullest. After class, Kendo and Deku actually hang out once again at a nearby dojo. They talk about how their internships went, and Kendo explaining that it was a bit underwhelming to say the least, but Deku explains that his was quite the opposite, and basically explains like what happened. To finish off the day, Kendo asked to learn what Deku used on Bakugo at the end of their fight, thinking that it would be very beneficial to learn. Deku then asks, like, "You mean the Wing Chun?" And she goes like, "Yeah, when you grabbed his hands, right, and elbowed him?" And Deku's like, "Oh yeah, totally, I can teach you that." And he basically agrees and teaches her the basics of Wing Chun and how to properly execute it in a fight. And especially with the big hands quirk or the big fist quirk, that would be super beneficial for her. The next day, Aizawa begins to speak about the final exams, and that there's a written portion, and then there will be a practical exam. For the next couple of days, everyone, including Deku, studies for the exam, and when it finally comes around, Deku feels pretty confident, but is still not the best at taking tests at the end of the day. After the exam, all the students are asked to go get into their hero costumes and head to the gym. When the students arrive, all the teachers are there. And Aizawa begins to explain that this year, the practical will be against the teachers, explaining that it will be 2 students versus 1 teacher wearing weights, and that this will be your ticket to go into the forest training camp. All the matches are announced, and then All Might comes flying in from the sky. Bakugo and Midoriya, your opponent is our one and only symbol of peace. I am here! Deku smiles widely in excitement, as well as Bakugo, but wincing at the fact that he has to be paired with Deku. All the other fights go normal until the fight with All Might versus Bakugo and Deku. The match begins with them searching for All Might. Nerd, I don't need your help. I can beat him on my own. I'll do it by myself. As much as I want to let you fight him on your own, I don't think that's a good idea. What, are you looking down on me? Kachan, dude, no. We need to win, and I want to assure that. Bakugo basically just ignores it. All Might then appears, shooting a gust of wind at Deku and Bakugo, blasting them backwards, but they're able to keep their footing. Bakugo flies at him at full speed to attack All Might and lands a good punch surrounding his hand with that explosive power. But All Might shrugs it off and grabs him by the arm and is about to slam him. But Deku blasts All Might with a vicious kick to the stomach. Damn it, Deku! I told you I didn't need your help! Stop being stubborn. He had you dead to rights there. Shut up, Deku! Bakugo blasts Deku in the stomach, launching him away, and actually kind of knocking him out for a little bit. Bakugo begins to fight All Might, breaking his own body. It's just to land blows, but is eventually knocked out. With 2.5 minutes left in the test, Deku gets up and realizes that the best way to win is to just escape. But how could he pass up the chance like this? Flying in using shockwaves, connecting flush on All Might's jaw, sending him flying. Get up, All Might. I've been waiting to challenge you in a fight for the longest time. I am so excited. When All Might gets up, but as Deku sees him stand, Deku kicks him once again in the gut and uses his compass needle to basically even up the fight. All Might tries to hit Deku, but he's able to track his movement, dodging and striking with increased accuracy. Deku actually realizes, using his heightened senses, where All Might's injury is exactly, and begins to strike at it repeatedly. Deku then, using his disorder type, launching All Might. He basically launches All Might at the nearby building. Deku picks up Bakugo and puts the cuffs on All Might. Deku begins to think about how Bakugo has been acting and that he's really not himself. And he may not be as strong as oh my bad. That he's not being himself, and that All Might that All Might doesn't seem to be very strong or nowhere near as what he was during his peak. But he basically still somewhat struggled against a very weakened All Might. Deku then brings Bakugo to the infirmary, and Bakugo wakes up to see Deku leaving the infirmary, and in his head he's just frustrated that once again that damn nerd had to save him, and that he's just so much farther ahead, and he doesn't know how he can even catch up. The next day, Aizawa explains that everyone will be going to the forest training camp, but the people who failed will be taking extra classes. On the way over to the camp, the bus abruptly stops, and Class 1A meet the Wild Wild Pussycats. Then they realize that it was a trap, until the whole mountain basically turns into a wave, launching everyone off. And Aizawa says, "The training camp starts now, Class 1A." Talking about, A real challenge. The mountain collapses over the edge into the forest, pushing all the students in 1A off of the mountain. Yo, what was that for? Midoriya, go with your classmates. There are creatures to fight. Are they strong? Yes, Midoriya, they are strong. Deku dives headfirst off the mountain. The Wild Pussycats ask about the kid, and Aizawa tells them that he basically just loves to fight. Or at least something like that. Deku basically destroys most of the monsters on the way to the camp. With Class 1A, and they actually get there a lot faster because of the increase in power of Bakugo and also how strong Deku is at this point. They get there and Aizawa tells them that they can still have lunch even though, they didn't get there. They still got there a little late. Deku sees Koda and walks over. Yo, what's up, little man? What's your name? Koda tries to punch Deku in, the family jewels, but he easily dodges. Come on, kid. I was trying to be nice. And Koda basically just leaves annoyed. Everything in terms of, the bath scene and them eating go basically about the same. But the difference is the training that Deku actually goes through. Tiger was Deku's partner, originally in the beginning, and he also was the training partner of him in this, but only for a little bit. But then Aizawa decided that the first part of Deku's training should be with Shoto to try and gain even more resistance to fire as a whole. The next day after that training, Deku began to train with Tokiyami, where he would go into the cave with Dark Shadow and spar with them. Since the area is so dark, it also helped him basically increase his senses even more than before. The next night, Deku decided, while everyone was eating, to bring Koda some food, thinking that he likes little kids' grit, even though he tried to punch him down there. He gets there, giving him food, and begins telling him why he wants to become a hero, and that he knows that Koda doesn't necessarily like heroes by any stretch of the imagination. Deku, to basically explain this, he cuts off his own arm and grows it back. See, kid? I'm literally a monster. It's hard for a monster to become a hero. Yeah, you're right, kid. Then why don't you become a villain? Deku turns and gets punched right in the face, noticing the guy there, but underestimating the type of speed he actually had. Deku gets up ready for a fight, telling Koda to get back. Deku plants his foot using destructive death compass needle. The villain by the name of Muscular charges and doesn't even come close to hitting Deku again. Deku shoots shockwaves at him, making him fly into the air. Jumping up after him, kicking him back down using his destructive death air type ability. The shockwave sends Muscular back down at insane force, knocking him out cold. Deku grabs Koda and, as fast as he possibly can, begins to run to the main camp. Finding Aizawa, Deku tells him that he is suspicious that these villains are most likely after him, but that he doesn't know why for sure. And they begin to run off to camp, but Aizawa realizes that Deku is gone and sees Mr. Compressed running off with a marble in his hand. Damn it! He's too far away. I'm sorry, Midoriya. The rest of the events go the same, except they actually capture both Deku and Bakugo. Now in the villain base. Yo, where am I? Calm down, kid. Seriously, Dabi says. Dabi turns and begins to say to everyone else that for some reason he really does not like this kid. At all. I can hear you, And honestly, I just really want to fight you for some reason. Are you actually strong? Are you strong? Can we fight? Kid, be quiet. Bakugo wakes up seeing Deku tied up as well, and they begin to look at each other, basically non-verbally saying let's go, let's get out of here. We're about to we're gonna bust ourselves out of here right now. But before they could do that, though, a very ominous and dark presence walks in. Azuka Midoriya and Katsuki Bakugo. I'm glad that you could make it. For you, Bakugo, I can make you stronger. I know that's what you seek. You seek it so desperately, always losing to Midoriya. What about me? Deku says. Oh, you? I need your quirk. My body is extremely damaged, but with your quirk, I can be in my prime forever. Deku tries to get up, but All For One locks him in place. Damn it! I can't move! Bakugo sits there thinking about what the man said. More power? More power? Bakugo stands up, walking over to All For One, as he's about to take away Deku's quirk. Kachan! No! I'm sorry, Deku. Oh my bad. I'm sorry, Deku. Bakugo turns away, but instantly turns back and blasts All For One in the face, breaking part of his mask, but he doesn't even budge. All For One sends Bakugo flying and begins to take away Deku's quirk. But for some reason, right before he was able to actually take it away, something stopped him from completing the transfer. Deku's eyes changed color once again, but this time having the number 3 within them. And as All For One kept trying to get the quirk, a new being arises out of Deku. It was Akaza himself. They both stand before All For One, punching him, and the rest of the villains outside of the hideout. As this happens, many pro heroes show up, like Endeavor, All Might, Kamui Woods, Mount Lady, and many others. Others show up to fight the League of Villains, but as soon as they arrive, All For One sends the entirety of the League of Villains away into a portal, telling Shigaraki that he must lead everybody into a better society. All Might begins to get ready to fight All For One for the last time, as Deku and Akaza stand next to him. Akaza looks at Deku, seemingly disappearing with a nod of approval, that he's doing better than Akaza himself could have ever done. All Might and Deku stand ready to fight All For One now. All Might tries to tell Deku that he will handle this, but he refuses. So they begin their assault. All Might attacks from the front of All For One at full force as Deku supports him with shockwaves. All For One throws All Might in front of one of the shockwaves and seemingly gets hit, but the shockwave changes direction, hitting All For One right in the face. Deku then dashes in, grabbing All For One, screaming for All Might, "Do it now! United States! Smash!" Landing cleanly on All For One, knocking him out, but also putting a hole in Deku's stomach. Oh, the horror! Remember me as a hero. I plead. Midoriya, get up. Sorry. I couldn't. I had to take the chance. I had to do it. After the defeat of All For One, Deku got into some trouble, because he's not supposed to be fighting, right? He's not supposed to be fighting villains, but the world, because the world wanted to know who he was. But UA ended up covering for him, so he wouldn't get into too much trouble and wouldn't get too much publicity. So he didn't get in. So overall, he wasn't in too much trouble at the end of the day, and he was able to just attend school like normal. Deku then is told by All Might that he is now retiring and that it's over for him. He tells Deku about his quirk, obviously leaving out some details, but telling him that he found somebody that was worthy of the quirk that he once held, and that soon he will become the symbol of peace alongside Deku, for the world to feel safe once again after the final defeat of All For One. Deku asks who is this person that got his power, and All Might just tells him that in due time he will learn. Also, by the way, I just want to clear this up. They do move into the dorms. I just feel like that's not, I'm not gonna add extra dialogue for that. I feel like that's just kind of boring. But I just wanted to say that because I'm kind of skipping over it. But yeah. When they finally go back to class, Deku meets up with Bakugo. Yo, thanks for, not turning on me there. You really thought I was gonna do that, you nerd? What is the point of getting stronger if you can't do it yourself? Deku like basically nods, acknowledging that he's glad that Bakugo still thinks like that. And they both head into class, and after their conversation, Aizawa begins to explain the plan for the next week. Okay, for this next week we'll be working on our super moves, and for some of you will be training in weaknesses in your fighting. Everyone, please head to the gym. Before you knew it, everyone was working on their super moves. And during this time, Aizawa goes over to Deku and begins to ask him about the lines on his body and the change in eye color, and if it's going to stay like that. He tells him that he really doesn't have a clue, but when it happened, he got this weird boost in power for some reason. The training that Deku basically did was a continuation of what he was doing with Mirko, where he was training for one, his mental awareness, his defensive capabilities, and basically things like that. So he really didn't work on any super moves because frankly he has his own super moves already. Aizawa then eventually announces that they will be participating in the provisional license exam. Everyone began talking about it, how excited they are for the exam and potentially finally becoming licensed heroes. The next day, they all head to the exam and they run to another high school, but that other high school is basically shooed away by Bakugo, knowing that, they're not there to like chit chat. They're there to like get down to business. The first day of the exam is as follows. Everyone wears a vest with 3 targets on it, and if those targets are hit, you are out. But if you get 2 people, like if you completely eliminate 2 people, then you pass. After the proctor explains this, all the classes head off to the field. Or the little city. Deku, who was initially with a large group, decides to just leave and go off on his own. Deku heads off and sees someone from Shiketsu High and can tell that has to be a great opponent. Hey, you, what's your name? Oh, I'm Inasa. Let's fight! Before Inasa could basically say a word in terms of agreeing, Deku just charges at him, and they begin to go blow for blow with Inasa's wind capabilities versus Deku's shockwaves. Deku and Inasa both lose one of their targets, and then a large group of people show up trying to interrupt their fight. They began to launch the balls that were getting thrown at them right back at the people, like the large group of people that were throwing them initially. Using Deku's shockwaves and Inasa's wind, the power, they just launch all the balls back, eliminating almost half of the people, allowing both Deku and Inasa to pass just like that. We'll finish this later, Inasa. Deku just walks away to the waiting room, knowing that he can't continue the fight unless he wants to get disqualified. So the rest of his class actually passes just like in canon, and the next phase is announced to be rescuing citizens from a destroyed city. Deku then uses like his strength mostly to basically move heavy objects to like help his class, until he sees Gang Orca show up with tons of minions invading the destroyed city. Deku then leaves the last person he saved at base camp and proceeds to the battlefield, seeing a student from Shiketsu High getting absolutely bodied by Gang Orca. Destroyed. Todoroki and Inasa begin to take the front line, but every time they both attack, they cancel each other out. Gang Orca is about to attack Todoroki, but a shockwave blasts Gang Orca back before he can actually reach him. Deku jumps on the battlefield in front of Gang Orca. Stop being idiots, you two! If you're not going to help, let me handle this by myself. Deku charges at Gang Orca and they begin to clash. He plants his foot in the ground, surrounding himself with like a snowflake. Destructive Death, Compass Needle. Gang Orca charges at him, trying to blast Deku, but he's able to dodge everything that is thrown his way. About to clash once again, both Inasa and Todoroki create a vortex of wind and fire around them. Oh, so this was your plan. Well, lucky you, I have a backup too. Gang Orca goes to put some water on himself, but using Destructive Death air type, Deku launches the canister away. Obviously, this hurts me more My bad. Obviously, this hurts you more than me, Gang Orca. So, this is where our fight will be. Deku charges again, clashing with Gang Orca. The exam is over. The proctor announces the end of the provisional licensing exam. So Deku stops fighting, telling Gang Orca that he's super strong and that hopefully they can fight again soon. Gang Orca tells Deku that he has a lot of promise, but to be careful when looking for a fight, that you could seem more like a villain if you do so in the wrong circumstance. Everyone who passed the exam in canon passes, but this time Bakugo also passes, having a little less anger in his tone. But Todoroki and Inasa do not, because of the incident that happened before Deku actually jumped in. The next day, in class, Aizawa allows for the big three to actually come in and explain their work studies. Well, explain work studies, but the other two, excluding Mirio, don't really have a good, it doesn't work out the best. So Nejire kind of gets distracted. Tamaki basically is too shy to actually talk in front of them. So Mirio decides that he's just going to fight all of Class 1A. They all go to the gym, and as Deku is about to get ready to fight as well, Aizawa calls Deku over. Midoriya, you can't fight in this. What? Why? It would contradict what Mirio's trying to do. Well, that isn't fair. Come on. Look, if you just trust me, I will get you a sparring session with him later. Really? Yes, Midoriya. Okay, deal. Deku, Aizawa, and Todoroki watch as the entirety of Class 1A just gets destroyed. Absolutely destroyed. When they get back to class, Mirio tells the class that he has gotten this strong with his work study and that he recommends going into one to basically take your strength to the next level. At lunch, Deku, Bakugo, and Midoriya get sent to All Might's office, and Mirio explains that Sir Night-Eye himself requested for both of them to do their work study with him. Because if you remember from the first part, Night-Eye actually trained them at one point. They both agree to actually do their work study at Night-Eye's agency, thinking to themselves they were hoping to go there anyways since their relationship with Night-Eye already. And when they arrive at Night-Eye's agency, they obviously are just accepted immediately and they don't have to go through any trial. Okay, listen up, you two. We are currently working on a case dealing with the Shie Hassaikai. So basically, I have my sidekicks go on patrols and report back to if anything suspicious happens. And on the off chance you find the person in question, the leader of this gang, you do not engage. Bakugo, you will do your patrols with Bubble Girl. Midoriya, you will do them with Mirio. They all shake their heads in agreement, and the next day, Deku and Mirio actually go on their first patrol. So Mirio, how does it feel? How does what feel? You mean to work with Night-Eye? Oh, yeah, it's honestly great. Oh, no, I meant to be All Might's successor. What are you talking about, Midoriya? Oh, I mean, All Might told me that I would soon meet the person who was his successor, and my senses go off like crazy when I look at you. Don't worry, my lips are sealed, but just want you to know that we will be sparring soon. Mirio looks at Deku in astonishment, but just continues on. They continue their patrol until a little girl runs out of an alleyway and bumps into Deku. Hey, are you okay, little one? She hugs onto Deku and refuses to let go. Oh, I'm sorry. That's sorry about my daughter. She's quite the clumsy one. It's Overhaul, the leader of the Shie Hassaikai. Mirio tries to play it off like the situation that him and Deku can leave, so him and Deku can leave and not ruin the plan. But Deku, hugging onto the little girl, begins to talk. Hey, what's up with your daughter? She looks hurt. Oh yeah, Eri falls a lot. And I'm trying my best as a single parent. Deku begins to remember something that seems to be not his memory. Seeing a young lady and her father dying from poisoned water. And from his point of view, he couldn't stop it. Oh, she's just clumsy. Yes, very much. When Overhaul says this, Eri begins to hug Deku even tighter than before. Mirio looks at Deku, as Deku basically just says, "Damn it all." Deku blasts Overhaul with a shockwave, sending him back into the alley. "Mirio, get her out of here. I'll deal with him." But Midoriya. No buts. Go just now, please. Mirio, using One for All, runs as fast as possible back to Night Eye's agency to get help and to drop off Eri. Overhaul. A little girl? I don't know what you've done to her, but I will beat you into the ground. Destructive death. Annihilation type. Deku continues beating down Overhaul, making sure that he doesn't even land a hit on him. Seemingly so, Overhaul lays there, unconscious. Mirio then arrives once again. Midoriya, you did it? Deku turns looking at Mirio, but as he does this, Overhaul touches Deku, destroying his entire body. Midoriya! What? Where am I? Deku seemingly is in a very dark area now. Am I dead? Yeah, I mean, sort of. Deku turns and sees Akaza? You're the guy that fought with me for a little against All For One, and then you disappeared, right? That's me, kid. Well, I guess sorta. I guess you are sorta me now. I'm your reincarnation? Yep. And I'm glad you were able to become something I was never able to be. Truly good at heart. So am I truly dead? No, it's not your time yet. Not just yet. You have more people to save. And more people to protect. Please, do what I couldn't do. Protect the ones you love. Deku begins to just fall into the black abyss. Mirio has been fighting a very weakened Overhaul until the ground begins to shake. Once again, where Deku was once seemingly dead, and there was nothing left of his body, his body just regenerates and comes out of the shadows. What? I killed you! No, you just opened my eyes. The aura around Deku begins to flare up like crazy, and in a blink of an eye, he punches Overhaul across the face so hard that it fractures his jaw and knocks him out cold. Night Eye and many others come to the alley, putting quirk-canceling cuffs on Overhaul, and they take him away, officially defeated. Midoriya, you did it. I guess so. But I will admit, I had some help. The rest of the Shie Hassaikai is cleaned up pretty easily, with Overhaul not at the helm, and Deku finally finishes his work study with Night Eye. Are you sure you want to spar, Midoriya? Yes! I want to see how strong you are, Mirio. Okay, but I'm not going to hold back. Sounds good to me. They take fighting stances. One for all. 50%. Destructive death. Disorder. They charge at each other, and their clash begins. And this is the end of this What If. At least the end of the anime. If you guys enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe. As you can tell by what I just said of the anime, I obviously in the future am going to come back to these, and I have previous ones that I want to come back to, basically to go into the manga. That's my plan. But I'm currently basically trying to figure out how I want to do that with all my other what ifs. So be on the lookout for what ifs that go deeper into the manga. They might get revitalized and come back, and we might be going into the manga. So this finale could actually just be a part 3 in a way. But that's for a future date. If you really want to see that, please, like I said, leave a like and subscribe, and leave a comment down below that you really want to see it. And if you want to, if enough people want to see it, I mean, I can't deny the people, am I right? All right, but that's about it. I really hope you guys enjoyed this what if. I hope all of you enjoyed it. I really enjoyed making it. It was actually really, really fun. We have some new projects coming out very soon. Keep an eye open for those. And yeah, if you have any other suggestions for what ifs, leave it in the comment section down below. I always like to get to them. This one was actually, I would have to find the comment. But if you commented that you wanted this what if, make sure to say it down below. Be like, yeah, I'm one of the people that said I wanted this what if. So yeah, I got this from my comment section. I didn't plan this myself. I got this from my comment section, and I took the idea and made it my own. It's that simple. And yeah, like I said, this may be my channel, but it's yours as well, and I love to do any what ifs that you guys want me to do. All right, well, yeah, I'm sorry. I don't want to take any more of your time. That's about it. Have an amazing day. Later. I don't want to waste what's left. And on